Welcome to Echoes of Time, a journey into the forgotten worlds and the secrets they left behind.
You know, some secrets from our past, they just refuse to be solved. They get older, sure, but the answers, they seem to stay just out of our grasp. Today, we're going to dive into some of the most fascinating and stubborn puzzles on our planet.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Are these just random flukes, little mistakes in the history books? Or are they clues pointing to a truth so big that maybe, just maybe, we're not ready for it yet? That's what we're going to explore. Okay, so first up, let's talk about some mysterious objects. I'm talking about artifacts that, by all rights, just shouldn't exist. They make you question everything you thought you knew about our ancestors.
I want you to imagine finding a book, right? It's 600 years old, it's filled with illustrations and text, but it's written in a language that is completely alien. No one on Earth can read a single word. Well, that's a real thing. It's called the Voynich manuscript.
And believe me, this puzzle goes deep. The script itself, it doesn't match any known language, ancient or modern. The drawings show plants that botanists say have never grown on this planet. It's got these weird astrological charts of constellations we don't recognize, and these really bizarre pictures of people bathing in strange green fluids. The world's greatest codebreakers, even super smart AI, have thrown everything they've got at this thing, and they've got nothing. Zero.
So, what in the world is this thing? Well, the theories are kind of all over the place. Some people are convinced it's a message from another world. Others think it might be the only surviving text from a human language that's been completely lost to time. And then, of course, you've got the people who say it's all just a really, really elaborate hoax. But if it's a fake, why go to all the trouble of creating a language that's so complex it still fools computers today? The mystery just keeps going.
All right, next up we have an object that puts faith and science right in the ring together, the Shroud of Turin. For centuries, millions have believed this is the actual burial cloth of Jesus Christ, bearing the miraculous image of his resurrected body. But then, science steps in. In 1988, carbon dating tests placed the cloth's origin in the Middle Ages, not 2,000 years ago. Case closed? Not even close. Other scientists now argue that test was totally flawed. And get this, some studies suggest the image could only have been created by a burst of radiation so powerful we can't even replicate it today.
Okay, before we get to our next artifact, I need to explain something really quick. The idea of an analog computer. Forget silicon chips and code. An analog computer uses physical parts, gears, dials, levers, to model a problem and solve it. It's like a really, really complex clockwork machine that calculates things. Just keep that in your head for a second. Remember that idea? Because back in 1901, divers found this corroded lump of bronze in an ancient shipwreck off the coast of Greece. It turned out to be an incredibly sophisticated analog computer, over 2,000 years old. It's called the Antikythera mechanism. With its dozens of intricate interlocking gears, it could predict solar eclipses and track the movement of the planets with stunning accuracy. This is technology that was literally 1,000 years ahead of its time. It just shouldn't have existed. Okay, so we've looked at these small, intricate objects. Now let's zoom out, way out, to these massive monuments. Structures so grand and mysterious, they feel like they belong to a lost world. So, picture this. Deep in the deserts of Peru, an ancient people carved hundreds of giant figures into the ground. We're talking a spider, a monkey, a hummingbird. Some of them are as big as a football field. These are the famous Nazca lines. And the crazy part is, if you're standing on the ground, they just look like a bunch of random ditches. You can only see what they are from high up in the sky. And that brings us to the real head-scratcher here. The Nazca people, who made these between 200 BCE and 600 CE, couldn't fly. They never ever saw their own masterpieces completed. So the million-dollar question is, who were they for? And when you ask why, well, the theories get pretty wild. Some researchers think it was a giant astronomical calendar, pointing to stars and marking solstices. Others believe they were sacred paths for religious rituals, maybe to pray for rain. And of course, you've got the theory that they were landing strips for ancient astronauts. A more down-to-earth idea is that they were actually a giant map pointing to underground water sources. All right, next we're heading to a monument that everybody knows, but that still holds one of the biggest secrets of all, the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's not just an old tomb. It's a 4,500-year-old masterpiece of engineering, built with a level of precision that still makes modern engineers shake their heads in disbelief. See, for hundreds of years, we were pretty sure we'd mapped out the whole thing.
every known chamber, every tunnel, but it turns out we were wrong. The biggest question was always nagging at people, what else is hidden inside that mountain of stone?
Then, in 2017, everything changed. Scientists used this incredible technology involving cosmic rays, think of it like a giant X-ray for a pyramid, and they found something unbelievable. A massive, hidden void deep inside the pyramid. A secret chamber that no one knew existed, about the size of a commercial airliner. We have no idea what it's for. Is it a hidden tomb? Just a gap to relieve weight? We have no clue.
Now let's travel way out into the middle of the Pacific Ocean, to one of the most remote places on the entire planet, Easter Island. And standing silent watch all over this island are almost 1,000 giant stone statues, the moai. Some of these things are huge, over 30 feet tall, and they weigh up to 80 tons. That's like 12 elephants.
And this is where your brain kind of starts to hurt trying to figure it out. Just think about the absolutely impossible task. First, you have to carve these 80-ton giants out of a volcanic quarry using only primitive stone tools. Then, you have to somehow move them for miles across really rough terrain. And finally, you have to get them standing perfectly upright. Modern teams with cranes and technology have struggled to do it.
So, you ask the modern-day islanders, how on earth did your ancestors do this? And they have a simple and honestly kind of chilling answer that's been passed down for generations. They say the statues weren't dragged or carried. No, the statues walked. It's a legend, for sure, but it's a legend born from a feat that we still can't logically explain.
All right, let's jump forward in time to a more modern mystery. A place that's become a legend, a notorious stretch of ocean where the laws of nature just seem to, well, fall apart. We're talking about the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, this slice of the Atlantic has a terrifying reputation for just swallowing ships and planes whole. In 1918, a huge Navy cargo ship, the USS Cyclops, with over 300 people on board, just vanished. No SOS, no wreckage, nothing. Then there's the famous case of Flight 19 in 1945. 5 Navy bombers went out on a training run, their compasses went haywire, and they disappeared forever. And the most terrifying part, the rescue plane sent out to find them also vanished.
Now, of course, people have tried to explain it. On the one hand, you've got scientists talking about things like strange magnetic fields that mess with instruments, or massive bubbles of methane gas erupting from the seafloor that could sink a ship in seconds. But then, you have the other theories, that it's an alien abduction hotspot, or that ancient technology from the lost city of Atlantis is still active down there, causing all this chaos.
Okay, so we've looked at an impossible book, these mind-bending monuments, and a phantom patch of ocean. What does it all mean when you put it together? What is history hiding from us?
What all of this really points to is that these aren't just fun little stories. No, they're a direct challenge to how we think about our own history. They're a giant hint that ancient people might have had knowledge, maybe even technologies, that we've completely forgotten. That our past is way more complex and way more amazing than we've been taught.
And that really brings us to the final big question here. The Antikythera mechanism is not a theory, it's a fact. It proves that a civilization 2,000 years ago could build what we would absolutely call a computer. So if we know that is true, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible things did they know? What other amazing achievements have been completely wiped from the history books? What else have we forgotten?
This was Echoes of Time. If you love powerful history stories, subscribe and continue the journey with us.